In a stunning courtroom moment, actor and musician Jamie Foxx has reportedly taken a stand, and what he described seeing at Diddy's infamous parties has left everyone speechless. From disturbing rituals to unexpected celebrity involvement, Jamie's testimony is painting a chilling picture of what really went on behind closed doors. In this video, we unpack every detail of what Jamie allegedly revealed in court, the shocking scenes he claims to have witnessed, and how his explosive statements could become a turning point in the trial. As more stars are pulled into the spotlight, the line between fame and fear grows thinner by the minute. Disclaimer: this content is fictional and created for entertainment purposes only. No confirmed court documents or official statements verify these claims. Hashtag Jamie Foxx, hashtag Diddy trial, hashtag courtroom drama, hashtag celebrity scandal, hashtag breaking news, hashtag Diddy parties, hashtag Hollywood exposed. Script: Jamie Foxx strode into the packed courtroom like a storm that had finally decided where to break. Cameras snapped, pens froze, and every throat in the gallery tightened as he adjusted his immaculate black jacket and met the jury's gaze. He didn't clear his throat. He didn't smile for effect. He simply announced, in a voice steadier than most expected, "What happened to me wasn't a fluke. It was a message, and I lived to decode it." The hush that followed was so complete, you could hear a bracelet slide down someone's wrist in the back row. He started where every rumor had pointed, but nobody dared confirm. Weeks before his collapse, he'd noticed a pattern: the same tinted SUV lurking outside sets in Atlanta, then Miami, then Los Angeles. Always the same meandering silhouette, always the same blank plates that defied police scanners. At first, he brushed it off as a byproduct of fame. Stalkers come with the territory. But the pattern grew teeth when a stranger cornered him on set, shoved a phone in his face, and demanded 35 grand for a clip that would blow your legacy to ash. Jamie didn't even ask to see it. He reported the shakedown. Security dragged the man out, and the producer ordered the shoot back on schedule. Yet the actor couldn't shake the chill that slid under his skin, because he already suspected who'd commissioned the ambush. The messages escalated from nuisance to nightmare in days. An unlisted number texted, "Don't forget who polished your star." Another pinged, "You're talking too loud." When his assistant received an email naming Jamie's daughter's school and homeroom teacher, the playful bravado evaporated. He gathered his closest people and said, "If I disappear, it wasn't an accident. If I go down, drag the truth into daylight." Then came the morning his body revolted. He woke unable to string a sentence together. Words dissolved on his tongue, while a crushing pressure wrapped his chest like a steel corset. One arm slackened at his side. His vision smeared at the edges, and alarms erupted among staff. Rushed to the ER, he watched doctors trade puzzled glances. Stroke? Seizure? They couldn't decide. But Jamie's gut screamed one verdict: sabotage. The test said inconclusive, and the tabloid settled on mysterious health scare. Yet he lay there certain an unseen hand had tipped something into a drink, or loaded a syringe meant to help him recover from a scene, or slipped powder into a late-night tea. While he drifted in and out of consciousness, strangers in suits tried to visit. Nurses later confessed they refused entry, but not all refused. His phone vanished from his bedside table. So did the small leather notebook where he jotted thoughts between takes. Back at his house, every second of security footage from the night before the collapse had been scrubbed so clean the system recorded itself rebooting at 3 a.m. and then nothing but static. Weeks passed in enforced silence. His family issued a polite statement asking fans for prayers, and Hollywood filled the void with speculation about vaccines, exhaustion, and secret rehabs. Jamie ignored it all, focusing on piecing his memory together. When he could finally stand without wobbling, 2 detectives arrived. Someone had phoned in a tip. The actor believed he'd been poisoned. Jamie hadn't said the word publicly. Someone close to him had. That's when fear curdled into resolve. If they were bold enough to try it once, he told himself, they won't hesitate again. Either I speak or I vanish. The decision to testify didn't arise in a burst of courage. It fermented during sleepless nights, replaying a decade's worth of encounters at lavish addresses, where the price of entry wasn't cash, but compliance. In those memories, one name rang like a warning siren: Sean Diddy Combs. Early in Jamie's career, the mogul's invitations felt like golden keys. Doors swung open to private rooftops, champagne flowed, and A-listers lounged on imported leather couches. Yet the longer he mingled, the more the parties shifted from glamorous to grim. Phones confiscated at the door, non-disclosure agreements thick as phone books, back rooms cordoned off by velvet curtains, behind which murmured deals and glassy-eyed newcomers disappeared. One incident splintered his illusion for good. He declined an unusually secretive gathering in 2022, only to get a call the next morning from a mutual acquaintance. "You're acting brand new, Fox. Remember who boosted you?" The tone wasn't friendly. It dripped entitlement. The entitlement of someone convinced favors are forever IOUs. Jamie then recounted a memory that still serrated his nerves. A rising male vocalist had stumbled out of a Diddy soiree ashen and trembling, mumbling that he'd seen something behind the curtain that belonged in nightmares, not record deals. The kid vanished from the charts soon after. No scandal. No farewell tour, just gone. Jamie filed the expression on the singer's face away as evidence that the hype around those parties masked something diseased. His testimony shifted to Nick Cannon, a story the internet once memified as a harmless anecdote. Teenage Nick crashing on Jamie's sofa. Under oath, the tale darkened. Nick had been hiding, Jamie said, running from misshapen introductions to the industry that left him sleepless. "Your couch was safe," Nick once whispered, and now that whisper reverberated across the room like a siren. Jamie's voice faltered only when he spoke the name Kim Porter. He described a brief, hushed conversation with her at a gala. No flashing smiles, no industry gossip, just raw dread. "Watch your back, Jamie," she'd said, eyes scanning the crowd. She confided plans to unburden herself to a reporter or federal agent about what she'd witnessed inside Diddy's circle. Months later, she was pronounced dead from pneumonia, despite being 47, athletic, and by all accounts, healthy. Jamie never bought the official line. Neither did Al B. Sure, Kim's former partner, who posted that she'd been taken out before hurriedly editing the post. Al reached out to Jamie afterward, whispering of drawers rifled through, shadows outside windows, and that choking sensation of being watched even while sleeping. Name after name tumbled from Jamie's lips. Heavy D, Andre Harrell, talents gone in abrupt storms of natural causes. The thread tying them together, he claimed, wasn't bad luck, but the secrets they carried. Somewhere, he insisted, a journal Kim kept, cataloging favors, faces, dates, had vanished into a vault controlled by the very people it condemned. He then recounted the night that crystallized everything he feared into certainty. An opulent mansion in Beverly Hills, early 2022. A friend convinced him to drop by for quiet drinks. From the moment Jamie surrendered his phone, he felt the wrongness humming under the bass line. Curtains were drawn, though it was only 10 p.m. Candles replaced overhead lights. Shadows clung to corridors, and conversations dissolved into murmurs when anyone unfamiliar walked by. A hallway dubbed the Gold Room caught Jamie's eye. Through a narrow gap in the curtains, he glimpsed what looked like a teenager in designer sneakers, encircled by men in immaculate suits. The boy's face was pure panic, but the smiles of the suits were predator calm. Jamie spun on his heel. A hand clamped his shoulder and a voice cooed, "Stay, Jamie. You're family now." He shook the hand off. "No, I'm not." Threats followed like clockwork. Anonymous DMs. Phone calls in the dead of night. "Shut up before you end up like the others." By then he had installed extra cameras around his home and instructed security to log every dark SUV within 2 blocks. It didn't matter. The morning after his collapse, technicians found the hard drive casing of his main recorder warped, as if a blowtorch had kissed it. On-set cables were rerouted, motion sensors covered with tape, and every behind-the-scenes reel from the day of the $35,000 shakedown had corrupted simultaneously. Then a screenshot arrived from an anonymous crew member, an email chain labeled Foxfire Protocol, bullet points outlining how to control narratives, sanitize recordings, and neutralize leaks. The defense scoffed, calling the document an obvious fake, yet the phrase "clear recordings" echoed in jurors' minds when Jamie displayed photos of the melted drive under fluorescent courthouse lighting. Somebody had money to burn, and apparently they'd used a fraction of it to roast hardware. Why did he wait to speak? Everyone wants to know that of whistleblowers. Jamie's answer was disarmingly human terror. When you're up against folks worth billions, who can charter jets across oceans the way we order rideshares, and who dine with editors of every major outlet, you weigh your next word like it's a live grenade. He almost accepted a hush check forwarded through a friendly lawyer, enough to retire in the Alps. The moment the ink dried, though, he'd have been entombed in silence. He pictured Kim's children, Cassie's tears on the stand, and the shaky kid in the Gold Room. He tore the offer letter in half. Seeing Cassie Ventura testify was the tipping point. She quivered but spoke, and Jamie realized fear only wins when no one counters it with truth. He collected his medical charts, the email screenshot, statements from 2 bodyguards who'd tailed the mysterious SUVs, and prepared for court. Even on the eve of his appearance, friends begged him to back out. "They'll freeze your career. You'll be radioactive." Jamie shrugged. "Then I'll farm avocados. But I won't rot with this secret." Back in the courtroom, his finale landed like a cleaver splitting oak. First he turned to Diddy, seated impassively a few feet away. "I defended you, laughed at your jokes, toasted your wins, he said, each word crisp. In return, you aimed a wrecking ball at me the second I stopped playing along. Then he widened the target. This isn't just one mogul's darkness. It's an ecosystem built on hush papers, baby oil, and fear. Studios, award galas, glossy magazines. They all knew enough to raise questions, but the paychecks were too sweet. He reminded jurors of the empire built on charts and charm and on exploited silence. Empires forged in secrets crack, he said, and when they do, they don't crumble. They detonate. His eyes, sharp as flint, locked on Diddy one last time. You bet I'd stay scared. You bet wrong. With that, Jamie Foxx stepped down. The bailiff had to remind the gallery to breathe. Outside, reporters clamored for a reaction, but the man who'd ignited a cultural earthquake simply slipped into a waiting sedan, rolled down the window long enough to say, "I spoke. Now it's your turn to listen." The car eased into traffic, leaving behind a courthouse still reverberating with a broken silence finally mended, and an industry now scrambling to brace for the aftershocks.